Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise for the first time in this House as Minister of Amerindian Affairs, beaming with pride, Mr. Speaker, to support my colleague, Dr. 𝐁𝐔𝐃𝐆𝐄, and Budget 2026 as presented before this Honorable House. Mr. Speaker, from the banks of the Moruca River, yes, I am both humbled and elated to stand before this Honorable House, the highest in our nation. I stand here as a woman, a youth, an Amerindian, a mother, a wife, characteristics once labeled as marginalized, vulnerable, or minority, Mr. Speaker, but characteristics that are not barriers in the People's Progressive Party civic. I stand here because I stand with a party that not only prioritizes our people, but invests in them, Mr. Speaker. I stand here because I know that this party has historically supported our people and continues to do so. A party whose track record speaks for itself, and a party who today in government has advanced yet again Guyana's largest budget to date, $1.558 trillion, presented under the most appropriate theme, putting people first. This theme, Mr. Speaker, aligns with His Excellency's continued leadership while continuing to ensure development in every sector as we move forward assiduously on our record-breaking transformational path, setting the record not only regionally, but internationally. Mr. Speaker, I now turn my attention to the speakers before me. Starting with Mr. Speaker, Honorable Member Don Hastings. Mind you, Mr. Speaker, when I listen to these people, you know it's hard to believe that they were in government. Honorable Don Hastings, who was in government for 5 years as a sitting government minister, the highest as the Minister of State, and also the General Secretary of her party, the People's National Congress Reform. She sat as quiet as a mouse, Mr. Speaker, when land tenure was dormant for 5 years. When 2,000 CSOs were sent home, when her colleague, Mr. 𝐁𝐔𝐃𝐆𝐄, said that Amerindians were avaricious and we should not get any money from the resources of oil, where was her voice then, Mr. Speaker? What were the recommendations and interventions towards improving the Amerindian hostel then? What was done to improve the Amerindian hostel? Mr. Speaker, this member has not betrayed, I don't want to use unparliamentary language, has turned her back on the party that made her, on the party that she led as General Secretary. Can we trust her, Mr. Speaker? We see you, Honorable Member, you have changed the color of your clothes, but you have definitely not changed the fact that you sat for 5 years in government and did nothing for our people. You have a chance to do the right thing now, and that is to support Budget 2026 as presented before this National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, I now turn my attention to my brother, Dion La Cruz, Honorable Member. Honorable Member, please come to the front of the class. The front of the class. To address this member, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to refer to my WhatsApp chat that was sent to me at 1:55 a.m. this morning by an intelligent, young Patamona girl from 𝐾𝐄𝐁 Region 8. What she sent to me was a screenshot from the Guyana Standard, which said, and I quote the MP to say, "I strongly believe, Mr. Speaker, that the days for Amerindians to be living in truly houses should now be over with all the wealth of this country has. You can't born, grow, and dead in a truly house. We want mansions too, like some of the honorable members on the other side." Here is what Luana Augustus from 𝐾𝐄𝐁 Region 8 had to say. "Good night, Minister. This is very offensive. I hope you will debunk this nonsense peddled by the opposition. Traditional homes are not symbols of failure or poverty. They reflect culture, climate, knowledge, sustainability, and identity passed down for generations. Development should give people choices, not erase who we are. And what's sad is when some of our own indigenous brothers and sisters repeat this narrative looking down on our traditional living. Real progress Mr. Speaker, is clean water, free healthcare, free education, roads, and opportunities to improve our livelihoods. And that is what this government is committed to doing. Not everyone wants the same definition of development. Mr. Speaker, Luana said, development should never come at the cost of erasing culture. While improving housing conditions for vulnerable families is important, and I would like to point out that government's program to assist households in parts of Region 8, when residents were consulted, many chose traditional housing styles. That choice is important. Our people have lived in truly and traditional houses for generations. To generalize and imply that our way of life needs replacing is to speak down on Indigenous people. Real development is about options, dignity, and consultation. Something that they have no idea of, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to turn my attention to Honorable Mr. Shera Duncan, but there are many others that's coming out of me battle ready, right? Battle ready. Many others are coming after me. But what I'd like to know, Mr. Shera Duncan, is that you sat in this House, Honorable Member, for the last 6 years, and you still cannot differentiate between Amerindian land ownership and land ownership on the coastland. It's something different. Listen and learn as I speak about land tenures. Mind you that this honorable member was also in government for 5 years. But let me tell you, Mr. Speaker, about Budget 2026. This budget will continue on this historically transformative path to further enhance the work that the government has been executing since our resumption into office, with the aim of ensuring our development as one Guyana. And it will touch every single household in our great nation, including our Indigenous brothers and sisters. It will further ensure that we will continue upon the inclusive and progressive path of development that seeks to propel our Indigenous rights to even greater heights. Mr. Speaker, Budget 2026 have once again, Budget 2026, Mr. Speaker, the people have placed their trust by voting overwhelmingly in favor of the People's Progressive Party Civic and allowing us to sit on this side of the House in a sweeping majority. To the Guyanese people, we see you, we thank you. And as we have delivered on our manifesto commitments before, rest assured, we will deliver. But the question I know my Amerindian brothers and sisters would like to be answered by me, Mr. Speaker, is what does this budget mean for Indigenous people, like myself? As Amerindians and persons living in the hinterland, Mr. Speaker, we are set to benefit from every single measure under this budget as every other Guyanese. From the coast to the hinterland, as far as the macaw flies, Mr. Speaker, our newborn babies will benefit from $100,000 one-off cash grant. Our elderly will receive $46,000, coupled with the annual transportation grant of $20,000. Every citizen 18 years and over, including the Honorable Dion, will receive a direct cash transfer of $100,000. Our school children have increased because we care cash grant, $60,000, $20,000 transportation grant, and what's more, $5,000 uniform allowance, bringing it to $85,000. It means, Mr. Speaker, that every child in public and private school will receive $85,000. And what's best is that most of these cash transfers will be spent where? In the local markets, the local shops, using the local taxi, the local boats, the local bus. As a mother of three myself, I know that this will not only help ensure children attend school, but attend school with all of their supplies. Mr. Speaker, turning to housing. Last year, 253 of our Amerindian villages have seen a total of $3 million each in housing subsidy to assist the vulnerable in villages. Mr. Speaker, the measure announced by the Minister of Finance will see people in the hinterland benefiting from housing subsidy, as is done on the coastland already. Overall, these measures will also be a boost to the local village economies, and more so the small businesses who indirectly will be the beneficiaries of this massive cash injection. Mr. Speaker, What's more, in addition to these many measures, will be the removal of taxes on ATVs, which will directly enhance our local transportation and tourism sector, of which many indigenous villages are heavily reliant upon as their only mode of transportation, the most dependable mode of transportation, especially in the mountains and by road. While by river, the removal of taxes on the outboard engines up to 150 horsepower will bring great relief and benefit to those of us who are living along the river with no access to road networks and depend on boats as our only mode of transportation. Mr. Speaker, while the opposition continues to gripe and ignore all the investments and interventions that have transformed our lives over the last 5 years, for many of them, Mr. Speaker, as I always say, if the nabbing come, the nabbing no. What we in the PPPC have known all along, and we have continued to address in every single PPPC budget, whether it's in health, education, digital connectivity, road infrastructure, housing, airstrips, land tenure, access to water, and many more. Yes, Mr. Speaker, telemedicine too. Much has been done, Mr. Speaker. Yes, much needs to be done, and much more will be done under the People's Progressive Party Civic, starting with Budget 2026 and beyond. Mr. Speaker, there continues to be specific interventions through the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs to promote and enhance the social and cultural, economic as well-being of our villages. Mr. Speaker, permit me to share to this honorable House how the major plans of our ministry will be advanced as a result of this year's budget. $7.5 billion allocated towards continued development of the livelihood of our Amerindian brothers and sisters specifically. This budget represents an increase from last year, Mr. Speaker, but it also means that we can further support communities as we have done in the past. It means that where the gaps exist, we can further bridge these gaps by providing such as transportation, such as buses, boats, ATVs, and other modes of transportation. And no, Mr. Speaker, no boots that grow. We will present, Mr. Speaker, since resuming office, we have allocated and distributed 400 assets specific to transportation for the needs of our villages. It means, Mr. Speaker, that for educational purposes, the children would not have to walk or paddle to school for long distances, and this will continue with Budget 2026 and beyond until we have realized 100% accessibility. Mr. Speaker, coupled with the major investments by the Ministry of Public Works in hinterland roads, this initiative has become a necessity. On the note of economic growth and opportunity, our Amerindian entrepreneurs will also benefit from the access up to $3 million in small loan from the Guyana Development Bank, and of course, at 0% interest, allowing us to repay exactly what was borrowed with no additional cost. I now turn my attention to LCDS and Amerindian land titling. Pay attention now, Honorable Shara Duncan. Mr. Speaker, enough is not being told. Enough is not being told of the success of Guyana's low-carbon development strategy, a transformative and groundbreaking plan for national development, a plan that has set Guyana ahead of our time, a plan that was implemented without the reliance on the oil and gas sector. Following our return to office and after extensive national consultation, we expanded this initiative from 2009 to 2030. And this consultation led to direct allocation into the bank accounts of Amerindian villages across the hinterland. To date, Mr. Speaker, as a result of this strategy, $14.5 billion has been directly disbursed to villages to be used for village development. And what is better is that this is designed and driven by the residents themselves who prioritize of how they use these funds. And Mr. Speaker, it's a travesty that the newcomers does not understand how the sale of carbon credit under the LCDS works. And it's not my place to school them, but I dare say, if they have committed to an increase of 10% to Amerindian villages in their manifesto, they should have at least taken the time to understand the brilliance of this strategy, Mr. Speaker. But what they don't know, Mr. Speaker, is that while the sale of carbon credits were less, Amerindian villages did not receive less, sir. Rather, what started in 2023 was 15% of the revenue from the sale of carbon credits were directly transferred to indigenous and hinterland villages, while in 2024 and 2025, 26.5% and 21% respectively were transferred, ensuring that our villages did not get less. That, Mr. Speaker, is putting people first. Mr. Speaker, standing tall in the Browne settlement, Mr. Speaker, is the Bonobo Guest House, funded by the LCDS, providing employment and much needed services to the sub-district of Browne Region 1. In the remote village in Kamana is the Kamana Mini Mart, funded by the LCDS. 𝐁𝐔𝐃𝐆 Women Group, Region 7. It currently employs 29 women. And in Region 2, the mainstay tourism project features 2 cabins, each self-contained, and is fully booked every weekend. Karasabay Region 9, 2 self-contained cabins, all funded under the LCDS and implemented by villages themselves, while creating employment. That, Mr. Speaker, is just the tip of the iceberg. Under this successful LCDS plan, we have disbursed funds to villages in areas such as agriculture, infrastructure, projects for women and youth, transportation, livelihood, social and welfare, and very importantly too, culture and heritage projects. Mr. Speaker, we reiterate that we are committed to ensuring that these resources continue to support sustainable livelihoods, climate resilience, and village-led development, while preserving the environment for future generations. And this is clear. Dr. 𝐁𝐔𝐃𝐆𝐄 said in his budget speech that we will continue to receive at minimum, Mr. Speaker, 15% of the funds raised from the sale of carbon credits to implement our village sustainable plans. Land tenure. This remains a priority for indigenous people and the government. It's a common goal. We recognize the invaluable role land tenure has on our sustenance, on the environment, and our very identity and culture as Amerindians. Mr. Speaker, the PPPC continues to lead the way in addressing and promoting indigenous people land rights in Guyana. There has been significant strides in this area, and currently in Guyana, we're one of the few countries which has specific legislation that sets out the procedure that guarantees legal ownership of land by our indigenous people. Mr. Speaker, it's also important to highlight that this project, the Amerindian Land Titling Project, was started, yes, by the PPPC government, supported by funding from the Low Carbon Development Strategy, a program that went dormant for 5 years when the PPPC was not there to execute. Since our resumption, what have we done, Mr. Speaker? August to date, another 15 villages have been demarcated and 17 have received certificates of title. Mr. Speaker, and the figures are right. It amounts to 16,174 Amerindians having legal title to their land under this land tenure over the last 5 years. Last year alone, Mr. Speaker, under our government, 7 villages received their certificates of title, giving them absolute ownership for their traditionally occupied lands. We will continue to further support this program through the allocation of $400 million to further advance Amerindian land titling within the confines of our legislation and further safeguard and improve the security of land tenure by our enjoyed by our indigenous people. The Amerindian Development Fund. Mr. Speaker, land tenure must be accompanied by viable village economies. As such, over the last 5 years, our government has invested over $16.7 billion in village-led projects through presidential grants, capital grants, and our investment fund. This means, Mr. Speaker, direct investment in 253 villages, satellites, and CDC's economies, leading to unprecedented growth with increased amounts in grant allocation over the last 5 years. And this has enhanced the lives of 107,000 residents of our Amerindian villages. Mr. Speaker, Budget 2026 prioritizes the well-being and development of our people by outlining proactive steps and tangible that are tangible in achieving this goal as represented in the Amerindian Development Fund. Of great significance, Mr. Speaker, is the presidential grant, which has increased by 125% to date, representing a total sum of over $2 billion investment over the last 5 years. Mr. Speaker, the $5 billion in our ADF will be for economic projects for women and youth. Some of these include sawmilling facilities, tourism initiatives, agro-processing facilities, shade houses, printeries, bakeries, cosmetology centers, and heritage sites, all aimed at building the capacity of our people and encouraging economic growth. But high on our agenda, Mr. Speaker, is youth development. Viable economies are only realized when skilled youths whose capacities we continue to build. Mr. Speaker, the CSOs were sent home by an uncaring, now minority in opposition. They took $720 million away from our Amerindian youths every year. For 5 years, Mr. Speaker, Amerindians lost, our CSOs lost a total of $3.6 billion. Wow. Since coming back, Mr. Speaker, we have engaged over 2,700 CSOs under this program, allowing $4.693 billion to be invested in the development of our Amerindian youth. We have also trained, Mr. Speaker, 2,164 CSOs to receive training in areas such as small engine repairs, garment construction, business plan proposal writing, craft production, tractor driving and maintenance, cosmetology, tourism and hospitality, solar installation, and ICT. But this investment hasn't been in vain, Mr. Speaker. It hasn't. And I am proud to stand here today and to share with you because the success stories are many. From our CSO program, our CSOs are shining. Yulani Darson, Canal Bank, attended the digitalization development program for healthcare right in her region of in the Mabruma sub-district. She is graduated as the most outstanding in her course, sir. Nafisa Evans, Wairuni, a teacher. Shavana Singh, Aishalton, is now a trained teacher also molding young minds in her village. Siparuta, several of our former CSOs are police officers, teachers, nursing assistants, and many have gone on to be Tushaus and village council members, playing a significant role in village governance. In Region 8, Mr. Speaker, way in the mountains, is Lisa Geronimo from 𝐃𝐄𝐁𝐃𝐄𝐁. She's a role model as a successful local entrepreneur in her village. She participated in this program, used her training, relied on her stipend, and she now has her own business, Lisa's Variety Store, right in 𝐃𝐄𝐁. Mr. Speaker, the names are many, the success stories are applaudable, but the goal of this program continues to surpass any expectation. And I am pleased to be advancing an increased stipend of $50,000 to the CSOs. We will continue to build capacity and skills through appropriate training, and I'm confident that the success stories will continue to dominate any dialogue on the CSO program. Mr. Speaker, turning to education, I know I don't have much time and I want to say so much, Mr. Speaker, but of the 4,000 recipients on the Gold Scholarship, I am proud to say that 3,900 of these participants are from regions 1, 7, 8, and 9. Mr. Speaker, programs such as the Coursera program and the University of Guyana tuition-free program will also enable our indigenous people and the hinterland youths to further advance education in an unprecedented way. Mr. Speaker, I am proud to stand before this House and say that we have built 83 new schools in regions 1, 7, 8, and 9. 83. But Mr. Speaker, while the educational opportunities are many, the Hinterland Scholarship remains a priority for this ministry. Last year alone, Mr. Speaker, 543 students benefited from scholarships. This would have placed, Mr. Speaker, a total of $4,354,000 directly into the pockets of our scholarship students. Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to stand before this House knowing that this year in Budget 2026, my government has increased the pocket allowance for the scholarship program by 150%, Mr. Speaker, putting people first. This represents, Mr. Speaker, an increase from $4,000 to $10,000 per student per month, in addition to all we're already receiving from the Ministry of Education and all the other measures outlined. This, Mr. Speaker, represents to free transportation, meals, and accommodation providing to our students in our care at the Liliendal Dormitory. I am proud to remind this House that in Budget 2026, $133.8 million has been allocated to support the students on this scholarship. If you're not being come, you're not being no. Mr. Speaker, connectivity. Accessibility to education opportunities is now being realized under this government. Connectivity is a priority to ensuring our Indigenous people are not left behind. Mr. Speaker, we have constructed 173 ICT hubs and 8 that are nearing completion. To complement these hubs, Mr. Speaker, we have had training for 192 hub managers, 32 ICT technicians, 31 PV technicians, and 2,489 residents trained in basic ITC. But what's better is that 76% of these are women. Fantastic. Mr. Speaker, this is a stark contrast to when the project was under the APNU AFC's care, when they definitely shelved it as if trying to stymie the development of our people. I now turn my attention to health and welfare, something close to my heart, Mr. Speaker. Our ministry continues to work closely with the relevant sector agencies of health and the Ministry of Human Services. Mr. Speaker, we have seen training and investment in the health sector, whether it's investment in health centers, trained medical personnel, emergency transport, and of course, as I mentioned, telemedicine. And over the next 5 years, we will continue to see investment in world-class healthcare and regional hospitals in regions 1, 7, 8, and 9. Mr. Speaker, last year, our government, through the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs, would have assisted 1,773 Amerindians through our welfare department, whether it's via prison visits, hospital visits, birth certificate application, welfare cases, and direct financial aid. And this aid were categorized into burial, medical, and difficult circumstances. This will continue, Mr. Speaker, in Budget 2026. And of great significance in this area is our long-standing hostel, which has provided humble refuge to many Indigenous people for decades since 1972. It's an invaluable asset to the ministry and to our beneficiaries. In 2025, Mr. Speaker, only on average of 250 persons per month utilize this facility, the facilities of the hostel, where they receive free meals, accommodation, and access to health care, along with the safe transportation back home. Mr. Speaker, while this hostel continues to serve us well, I am pleased to share that the sum of $500 million has been allocated to begin the construction of a brand new Amerindian hostel for people. A commitment, Mr. Speaker, of His Excellency, the one, the only, the people's choice for president. And I repeat, Mr. Speaker, the people's choice for president. And anyone who has an issue with that should cry a river, build a bridge, and get over it. Mr. Speaker, Amerindian women, we are the backbone of our villages. Our contribution and ability to be the ultimate drivers of development in our villages cannot be underemphasized. We have an essential role to play in cultural revival and preservation. This, Mr. Speaker, is an undisputed fact. As such, this government has made specific provision for women group and cultural projects in villages and communities by allocating funds in the budget for these core groups and projects. This will be specifically utilized, Mr. Speaker, for economic projects. Last year, we have assisted women and youth groups to establish beauty centers, sewing centers, craft shops, and bakery. And this has led to direct income and circulation of cash flow within villages. This will continue in Budget 2026 as we continue to empower our women, noting to Honorable Vindi that many of our Indigenous women have also benefited from the WIN program under your ministry. The only WIN, mind you, the only WIN that has anything to offer the women of this country. Language and culture will continue to receive direct support as our indigenous people possess extraordinarily rich natural and cultural heritage sites. These include archaeological sites from prehistoric times, exceptionally preserved historical area, natural sites endowed with landscape distinguished by their biodiversity. Mr. Speaker, these cultural heritage sites help define our people's sense of identity. It's part of our history and can be a source of social information and collective pride. In addition, it also can become a vital economic asset that drives sustainable development. Mr. Speaker, the National 𝐁𝐔𝐃𝐆𝐄 Council. We continue to support the NTC as a subvention agency under our ministry, and they will continue to receive our support in executing its legislative mandate, one of which is hosting the annual National 𝐁𝐔𝐃𝐆𝐄 Council conference, where our 𝐁𝐔𝐃 sit here for 1 week, having the ear of no less than His Excellency, the President. Mr. Speaker, Budget 2026 has allocated $150 million for the successful execution of this conference and $72 million for the NTC to execute its work. Governance. Leadership training for 𝐁𝐔𝐃s and councils remain an important and useful method of delivering positive outcomes for villages in Guyana. There is continuous need for training, Mr. Speaker, especially for village councils, as it is indispensable to knowledge requirement. Capacity building plays a critical role in facilitating this knowledge requirement and in supporting the community planning process, and also, to Mr. Speaker, in spearheading and implementing of the long and short-term plans of the village. Last year, Mr. Speaker, we provided training to 401 Amerindian leaders and residents throughout the regions of Guyana.
Honourable Minister, you will need an extension to conclude.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to ask that the Honourable Member be given 5 minutes more to conclude her presentation.
Thanks,
Continue,
Honourable Chief Whip.
Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, Budget 2026 will once again make provisions to ensure that training for governance in governance areas is continued. I know, Mr. Speaker, that I'll now turn to legislative review, Mr. Speaker, given my time. My government has committed, Mr. Speaker, to a comprehensive review of the Amerindian Act of 2006 with the aim of further strengthening and improving its provision. Given this government's policy of engagement and transparency, the review process has been inclusive and a transparent one, weighing heavily, Mr. Speaker, on the free, prior, and informed consent of our Amerindian people and the engagement of all relevant stakeholders. This process is carried out nationwide, collaboratively with the NTC and the AG's chambers, and this process is following a rigorous approach of 3 essential phases. 1, training, education, and awareness. 2, nationwide consultations. And 3, drafting of amendments, if any. In phase 1, Mr. Speaker, it has been well received, and we are responding to additional requests for more training on the Act for all residents. It is not the intention of this government to represent the voice of a select few in this review process, but all stakeholders that will be affected by the revision of the Amerindian Act. To date, Mr. Speaker, 2,069 leaders and residents have been trained. Materials have been developed. 21 lead facilitators trained on conducting consultations. This will continue, Mr. Speaker, in Budget 2026 and beyond. Mr. Speaker, in closing, I stand before this honorable House precisely as how I began. As a woman, a youth, and as an indigenous woman, a person who has spent my entire life in a village in the hinterland, as your Minister of Amerindian Affairs, to wholeheartedly support the motion for the approval of the estimates of the public sector and the budget for the financial year 2026. To Dr. 𝐁𝐿𝐿 Singh and his team, I say, hats off, sir. Well done. Mr. Speaker, putting people first. This is what we will do in Budget 2026 and beyond. I rest my case. God bless you.